Good evening, everyone, and thank you guys so much for joining us again tonight. We really appreciate it. My name is Asia Rush, and I serve as one of the maternal health coordinators for Six Dimensions. Tonight, we are discussing the overturning of Roe v. Wade and the impact that it will have on maternal health. So, this is a heavy topic, so we're going to go ahead and get right into it. If you have any questions, please let us know in the chat. We will be sure to get to them at the end of the conversation. So, again, thank you guys so much for joining. My name is Asia, and just to provide a little bit of background of Six Dimensions for those of you who could be joining us for the first time, Six Dimensions is a Black woman-owned public health agency, and our game, excuse me, and our goal in maternal health work is to eliminate maternal health disparities, especially in Mississippi. Mississippi has one of the highest maternal mortality rates, and to combat those issues, Mississippi created the Maternal Mortality Review Committee, and along from the Maternal Mortality Review Committee came the Facebook Lives, where we talk about uh, issues that impacts Black women. So, without further ado, I am gonna give the floor over to Natoya.
Okay, good evening. Thank you all for joining us tonight. As Aisha said, my name is Natoya Sanders, and I serve as one of the maternal health coordinators for Six Dimensions. So I'm just going to give you a very brief overview of what we're going to discuss tonight. And as Aisha said, we have a lot to cover, so we're going to jump right into it. So in 1973, the U.S. Supreme Court ruling on Roe v. Wade recognized the right to an abortion, citing that the U.S. Constitution's guarantee of personal liberty under the 14th Amendment. On June 24th of this year, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled to uphold a Mississippi abortion ban and overturn the landmark Roe v. Wade ruling, which ended nearly 50 years of federally protected abortion rights, which greatly diminished the range of reproductive choice for American women. So, over decades, research has demonstrated that abortion bans most severely impact people in marginalized groups and people who may already struggle to have access to the health care, including abortions. And so, as Aisha said, the work that we do is heavily focused on Black women in Mississippi. And we know that the overturning of Roe versus Wade is going to severely impact Black women. So we have Miss Valencia Robinson here tonight, who is going to talk to us about the impact of overturning this and how it's going to impact maternal health care. So I'm going to let Miss Tierney Marshall introduce our speaker for the evening.
Hello, everyone. I am Tierney Marshall, and I am also an intern with Six Dimensions in the maternal outreach team. And my job here is to introduce our speaker for tonight's discussion. Miss Valencia Robinson is a native of Jackson, Mississippi. She began her career in HIV/AIDS as a volunteer at Building Bridges INC. From there, she saw a need to work as an advocate to affect policy change in Mississippi. Valencia organized a historical Walk Against AIDS in 2008, a 172-mile walk to ask the next president of the United States for a national AIDS strategy. She has worked as an ACLU of Mississippi as juvenile justice and reproductive rights intern. Valencia Robinson is a CEO and founder of Mississippi in Action. She is a strong advocate for women's rights, LGBTQ plus rights, and awareness and reproductive justice. She can often be found at the Capitol, at rallies all over the state, and anywhere injustice plagues our marginalized communities. Her community efforts are endless. She is always ready to go to work for righteousness and rarely misses an opportunity to make a contribution. We want to welcome you, Ms. Valencia Robinson, and we would like to give you the opportunity to introduce yourself and share a little bit about your personal and professional background.
All right. Good evening, and thank you all for this. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So my name is Valencia Robinson. My pronouns are she, her, she, like the chocolate bar. I got that from Samantha Mathers, Washington, D.C., and Goddess, of course. Hey. And so I am the founder and CEO of Mississippi in Action, a small nonprofit which promotes holistic sexual and reproductive health through advocacy, education, and housing assistance. Housing assistance. Why? Because if people are not properly housed, we are at risk of doing a lot of stuff. survival. So we had to put housing in there as well. We started October 5th. Mississippi in Action will be 13 years old. We started in 2009 doing HIV awareness, testing, counseling. And I was like, it's something else that needs to be done. No policy work was being done at the Capitol. Mississippi in Action helped secure a $2.5 million match for the Mississippi State Department of Health for people living with HIV and AIDS for the Ryan White program for people living with HIV and AIDS. And we've just been out here raising hell, to say the least. We're not going to back down from issues where people are timid about, because people have real lives, and sometimes like these kinds of conversations, they're uncomfortable. We have to have them and bring them to the forefront, and we do that, and we're unapologetic about it. So that's what we do at the Great Mississippi in Action. I want to do something else.
No, thank you so much. We are so happy to have you on with us tonight. And we're just gonna jump right into it.
Okay.
So Roe versus Wade has officially been overturned. So in layman's term, what does that mean exactly?
Okay, so let me say this. Let me start off saying this. We've been living in a post-Roe world for almost 20 years. Mississippi had one abortion clinic for almost 20 years. And wherever I have an opportunity, I'm going to always ask, where was the excitement? Where was the anger in those 20 years? Now the country is looking like Mississippi, and everybody's at their wits' end. But we also have an opportunity to have a new Roe, or whatever we want to call it, because Roe v. Wade protected the providers and not the people accessing abortions. Now we're trying to protect not just the providers, but community folk. And I want to always put in a little educational piece, because I know we talk about women in films, but people having babies that don't identify as women or female. So, we say pregnant people, birthing people, the terminology. So, but sorry, I get taxed on. What that means in layman's terms is abortion is illegal in a lot of these states, right? And so Mississippi, abortion is illegal. Alabama, um, Texas, after 6 weeks. Louisiana, abortions are illegal. So that's what it means. You have to go. People will have to go outside of these states to access abortions. We did a train ride 3 weeks ago, and they came from Louisiana, Mississippi. We went to Tennessee, to Chicago on a train, 15 hours, to see how it would be to access an abortion in a state like Illinois. And it was a lot. So overturning Roe in layman's terms, like I say, bottom line, abortion is illegal. It is banned uh, in certain states. And Mississippi, of course, is one of them. And I don't understand for the life of me, because banning abortions are not stopping abortions. And so we have to keep that in mind when we're having this discussion tonight, that people have to go outside of Mississippi. And what that would look like is not easy for a lot of communities. And I know we have these questions, but I just want to just talk, because we're going to end up answering the questions anyway, if that's okay. Of course, we know who's going to be impacted: Black, Indigenous, Brown, poor people in the state of Mississippi. I'm not going to say that's why they did it, because that's not what they did. Because these people really believe that life starts at conception, right? That it's a fetus is a living, breathing entity. And so what we have to do is make sure people are educated on these laws so they won't get arrested. Because now, guess what is about to happen? They're going to overcriminalize pregnant people's bodies. I've told people not, if you're using the period tracking app, please stop. Why? It's because people can share your information, right? You stop having a period and you don't have a baby and it's not counted, they can come for you, because we don't know what criminalization is going to look like. But we do know in Texas, they have, I call an abortion bounty. If Natoya knows I'm going to have an abortion, Natoya can sue me for $10,000, because I can't have abortions are illegal after 15 weeks. So they're putting everyday citizens in charge of people's reproductive health, health and rights. Yes, that's why we have to know what's going on in these other states. I made the mistake of driving in my car. The governor in Tennessee has outlawed, I'm sorry, Plan B. And I was riding in my car going to Tennessee, and I had Plan B in my car. If I had gotten stopped, I could have gotten arrested. So we have to know what's going on in these other states. In Alabama, a person cannot give anybody any information on an abortion outside of the state. The person has to be already outside of that state, outside of Alabama, before you can tell them where they can access an abortion. If they're in Georgia, they have to be in the state of Georgia, but outside of Alabama, because that would be aiding and abetting somebody, and that's illegal. So, yeah, it's a lot, and a lot of people don't understand the severity of this. How for me, it's not even about the termination of a pregnancy; it's taking away the rights of pregnant people, of humans, of citizens in this country. That was a constitutional right. I'm 54, so this was intact when I was born. And now you taking this right away. You're taking our voting rights away as well. So all of this is interconnected. And that's why we can't have one conversation without having another conversation, because it's all intersectional, y'all. It's all intersectional. So when you're doing black infant mortality work, you're doing maternal mortality work, you have to think about, why are black women dying giving birth? Why are black women dying at a higher rate a year after they give birth? What's going on? And so it's so many other, all these issues about your reproductive health and your reproductive rights. And that's why we have to have the justice to fight off and ward off all this craziness these white men are putting in place. Whew, I'm sorry, that was a lot. I know that was a lot. That's a lot.
No, that's exactly what we want. We know this is the work that you do, so it's no one better to be able to share that information. And you talked a little bit about, who will be most impacted. How do you think, like specifically, this will affect maternal health in Mississippi, like the outcomes? Because again, we know that we have, the highest rate of maternal mortality. So, I mean, I know we can kind of infer and know, like, we can kind of see what's coming, but from your
Mhm.
perspective.
Well, of course, again, black and brown and poor people are going to be impacted. We also, like I say, I'm gonna go back to the criminalization of what's going to happen. We're going to over criminalize black bodies. So, just that. What then they're going to come? They came after abortion rights. We have legislators that sit in our state capitol that think birth control or Plan B are abortion pills. Think about what's coming next. The contraceptives. People are not using everybody. I don't say birth control a lot of the times because language is important. I do say contraceptives because people are using contraceptives for other than controlling birth. For health reasons. Cycles. You have trans folk that actually was taking birth control before they could get hormones, because they use a form, hormones in the birth control help with transitioning as well, right? And so it's going to impact that, because they're going to criminalize any. For my stance, my personal stance, Valencia Robinson, they're criminalizing sex. That's what's going on in this country. They're criminalizing sex, pleasure, and joy. And we have to also just pay attention to what's going on in these other states. Because if you look at the impact are really in these southern states, in these red states, where you have men in power that are making decisions on our bodies. So we don't know what our legislative session will look like as far as criminalization. We don't know if, well, I do know they're talking about legitimate abortions and suspicious abortions, and that's wrapped around the self-managed abortion. And that's illegal. We can't even talk about self-managed abortions in a way that where you go, where the pills are, how do you use the pill. So it's going to impact us heavily. And again, I'm going to always go back, it's going to criminalize Black and brown bodies the most. Whew.
So thank you so much for explaining that, because you are definitely giving some valuable information. I definitely like how you pointed out specific laws in other states, because we are focusing on Mississippi, and oftentimes we don't think about, oh well, Alabama and Louisiana is down the street and they have different laws than we do. But to get a little more about to get into a little more of your professional background, how is Mississippi in action taking action against this court ruling?
Well, the first thing, because we're not a service organization,
Okay.
we don't provide a service, right? But the first thing we do is have to work around destigmatizing abortion. People, even just that word is it can be traumatizing, and it's very stigmatizing. You know, the thoughts that people have when you hear uh, people are going to have abortions, want to have abortion, is where they just out here having sex, unprotected. They don't want to be parents. They need to take care of these kids, not understanding, which is not their business. And it's not because of, because they were raped, incest. That's when people feel like that's the only reason a person should have an abortion. A person should have an abortion because that's what their decision for their bodies and their family is. Not my business, not your business, between their partner, their God, and their doctor, period, if they even believe in a God. But what we continue to do, destigmatizing work. We go out in community and talk about how abortion looks in our communities. We also assist in getting people access to Plan B, because soon people are stockpiling on Plan B right now, because we
Wow.
never know if it's going to become illegal, right? And it's Plan B. It's a birth control. It's not an abortion pill. And people really don't. And that another thing we have to educate people on, the difference between Plan B and abortion medication. It's, let me see how to say this, because I can actually go to jail for even talking about self-managed abortion.
Like right now.
Like, yeah, but hey, y'all just get some bail money. Come get me. Give me a bail bus. Come get me. But I'm not gonna tell you where to go get the medications from. I'm not gonna do that. But we do have to talk about self-managed abortions, because people are going to self-manage their abortions. Mississippi in Action also has, actually tomorrow starts our Brothers in Action. We are actually bringing Black cis men, whether they're gay or not, and trans men into the conversation around reproductive justice, because it's gonna take all of us, all the voices. Men have been left out of the reproductive justice conversation, I know, intentionally. But regardless of who you sleep with, how you do whatever, you need an egg and you need a sperm. And I don't have the sperm. I have plenty of eggs. I don't have the sperm. And so we're just bridging gaps in communities to bring communities together to be more aware of the laws, how this is going to impact Mississippians, and let men be the voices, because right now our legislators are not listening to us. Women, we don't know anything. I've heard legislators say when women on their cycle, they are crazy. Their hormones are out of whack. They can't make decisions about their bodies. Y'all will be surprised what you hear down at the state capitol. And let me put this little bit out here. Mississippi in Action, myself, I've never just been an abortion person. I've not done this work. I've just recently started doing this work, and I have to give credit where credit is due. Michelle Cologne of Shero, Sisters Helping Every Woman Rise and Organize. Now, that's the guru. She has been doing this when it was not popular, and I'm not going to ever sit here and act like I am the expert in all of this work. It's just, I got into this work because women living with HIV in the early 2000s, late 90s were told when they got pregnant to have an abortion. And it also criminalized women because that means, according to our laws, you've exposed somebody to HIV because you probably, or they think you had unprotected sex. So they can go to jail. But you see how now all of this intersects, how all these issues intersect? Because we cannot, and I'm always say that we cannot have one conversation without another conversation. So community involvement is important. Educating our communities in a way where they don't feel like we're forcing abortion issues down their throat. And like I say, I don't come to this work as terminating a pregnancy. I come to this work as taking away a constitutional or a given right to me as a United States citizen. This is how I come from the work, and this is how I'm able to get older women, older people involved, especially those who've been involved in the civil rights movement, so they understand constitutional rights. They understand rights being taken or rights being, violated. So we have to think about how we have this conversation in a different way, but not diminish this conversation, if you know what I mean. Now we can't water it down. We have to be unapologetic and say abortion. I'm part of a coalition we say if you can't say abortion, you can't be a part of this coalition. And we've had people to actually leave the coalition because their board didn't feel like it was the safe thing. And a lot of folks do safe work. They do comprehensive sex education. They do teen pregnancy prevention. A lot of folks don't even want to talk about HIV when we talking about pregnancy. So, because the stigma around it is it's a gay disease. So, this is the work that we do. This is the work we continue to do. We create programs based on what we hear in community, and we go out and we train folks. We're getting out of Jackson now. We're going more into rural areas where they're like not clinics, not many clinics, if any clinics, so people have to travel to either Louisiana, Tennessee, Alabama to access just basic healthcare needs. So this is some of the work that we're doing. We've always done, and we will continue to do. And we partner with a lot of people outside of the state because, Louisiana, we're doing work with people in Louisiana, Georgia, and Tennessee because we're not in this alone. But I'm going to go back to saying, if people would have paid attention to Mississippi 20 years ago, we wouldn't be in a situation where we are now because we would have had the tools to combat this abortion issue. Even though the Supreme Court judges made made the final decision for the states to make the decisions on what, if it's going to be a total ban, 6-week ban, 15-week ban. But Mississippi has always had the stance they wanted to ban all abortions, overturn Roe v. Wade, because all lives matter. They want you to have the babies, but don't give you the means to take care of the children. Point in case, they stole all that money from TANF. These are the same people who I call them pre-birthers, womb raiders. As long as the child or the fetus is in the womb, they love it. Once it gets here, we don't care anymore. So let's be honest when we say that. Let's be honest and call it what it is. You don't care about life itself. You care. Pregnant folks are incubators, and a lot of folks. A lot of folks don't agree with me and the things that I say because it's not politically correct. It's not, it doesn't fit into the language people use. The people I work with, they don't want me to talk about restricting access to abortion directly intersects with these layers of oppression. They don't want to hear that. They want to hear, they understand, damn, I don't know where to go to have an abortion. I'm 13 weeks. Over here in Georgia, it's 15 weeks. It's a 24-hour waiting period. I don't know what to do. How do I do this? So it's giving folks the right information and the tools. And Asia, you have to know these laws. In Georgia, even with voting, if people are standing in line to vote, giving them water while they stand in line is a crime now. It's crazy. So we have to know all of this, why we do this work, who is going to impact, and get folks involved, get these churches involved. And, the way we have to shift the way people think about abortion. And that's the biggest fight I think we have right now. So it's going to take all of us to do this work.
Thank you so much, Miss Robinson, for that. I'm just taking it all in, everything you were saying. I want to know, is there any resources that we can come together? I know Mississippi in Action is doing work, but is there any more resources that we can come together and let our voices be heard?
And Shiro has a practical support fund. We have abortion funds in the state of Mississippi. ARC Southeast, their abortion fund, Mississippi Reproductive Freedom Fund. We ask people to donate to those funds so they still can help fund abortions, even though they're not in Mississippi. Fund the travel, fund the lodging, fund childcare, fund food, because you still need those things, whether you're here or not. Like I say, that 15-hour train ride was, one, very uncomfortable. The quality of water was horrible. And if you have a disability, getting up those stairs. So now we're thinking about undocumented people who might have to fly, that don't have ID. We're thinking about people who may have to drive, who might get caught up in a roadblock trying to go through Tennessee to get to Illinois and have Plan B in their car. So to go back to that, we ask people to donate to abortion fund, the National Abortion Fund as well, because that would get money into these different states who are still helping people access abortions. And we need a lot of money because there are more and more people going to these different states, such as Illinois, to access abortion. And that's the closest state here, and closest state to Mississippi. Florida, they have a 15-week abortion ban. So you have the Tampa Bay Abortion Fund as well. So it's just thinking about how we can continue to fund folk and get them what they need. So yeah, I got some fun.
We're gonna open the floor to the chat. If there anybody want to ask any questions in the chat, this is your time to do so. And we thank you so much for joining in on this discussion. It's been very, very eye-opening.
We'll give you a few minutes to pops back in. Any questions too?
We don't have any questions so far.
Okay. So I was going to say, in the meantime, there's an echo on me. Okay.
So yeah, let me say this: access to abortion. Abortion is healthcare, all day, every day. It's healthcare. It's a form of healthcare that pregnant people need. It's nothing. We're not asking for something totally different than healthcare, and we have to talk about it as a form of healthcare. Not, I'm going to get my PAP, or I'm going to get my prenatal prenatal visit and abortion. Access. It's all abortion encompasses our reproductive health. Whether, like I say, it's so much stigma and judgmental people out here. I couldn't volunteer at the abortion clinic when it was up there because they have this whole non-engagement stuff, and hmm, hmm. I'm going to engage you because I want to understand how your thinking is. And just listening to one, Miss Barbara. Miss Barbara actually. Oh, y'all, let me tell you about the pregnant crisis center, crisis pregnancy center, CPCs. They tell folk you have them that do ultrasound, but they have people in there that can't read the ultrasound. They tell people, yes, and our governor just gave tax credit to the pregnant crisis centers across the state of Mississippi. These are people who they were sitting at the clinic offering, and they were offering alternatives, abortion, not abortion, excuse me, adoption. Um, we're gonna give you diapers. Have any of y'all seen a documentary called Jackson?
I haven't.
I haven't
It's
either.
on. What's it on Netflix?
It was, I don't know where it is now,
I have to
but
Google
Google.
it.
It
Okay.
was filmed in Jackson, and it centers a young woman here in Jackson who wanted to have an abortion, but one couldn't afford it. But she went to to one of those pregnant crisis centers. The woman, Miss Barbara, followed her the whole 9 months. She had a baby. They gave her Pampers. They also, went to visit her when the cameras were rolling, when the cameras were, excuse me, were around. And what I didn't like about it, because they made the young lady look like she was just asshole backwards. The woman sat in her office and told this young lady, she said, well, I want to get on birth control. This Miss Barbara told this woman she didn't need birth control, she needed self-control. Y'all have to watch it. By the time the documentary ended, April, that's her name, April Jackson, was pregnant with twins. She tried to drink bleach, and we have to think about that impact too. People are not using clothes hangers like people think they are. No, because with medical technology has changed. So no, and we have to eliminate that idea too. Going back to the clothes hanger, we're not using clothes hangers. We have medication. People have herbs. I don't know all that is illegal, but they have them. So, this whole, I hate when we do rallies and white women show up with clothes hangers. That's not our reality. Because black women they're gonna do black people have done what they needed to do to get what they need, the resources that they need. We have midwives, we have abortion doulas. So I just wanted to say all of that because we're gonna have to do better. We're gonna have to do better. And why black women are dying, like I say, a year after childbirth, giving birth. Why are women dying? Black women in Mississippi are 118% likely to die from cardiac arrest while giving birth. So, we have people thinking our pro-black folks say it's genocide. The white folks coming into the community telling black folks they need to have abortion. That's not the case. These are very hard decisions. If y'all know somebody who's had an abortion, and if they want to share and just talk to you, just to hear the hurt sometimes, the fact, the decisions that this person had to make, that's not a light one. People don't go into this all willy-nilly. I'm going to have an abortion. I don't want this. It's not like that at all. It's not. Some of these stories, we have young folk in college who birth control didn't work, did everything they were supposed to do. But because of the stigma around abortion, it doesn't matter. She was just out here, it's her first year, freshman. She was doing all kinds of stuff on college campus. We have to. That's what y'all can help, dispel some of these myths around abortion and people who access abortions, because we're not going to be able to move with the mindset people have around this. Like I say, it's not even about terminating the pregnancy to me. It never has been. It's about a right. And so maybe, shifting the narrative may be important as well. How we talk about this work that we do.
Thank you so much for
I'm
this.
sorry.
Thank you so much. All this information, I'm just thinking about how I can be like an advocate myself. And because it's a we issue. It's not just this group of people, it's a we issue. And we
Mhm.
want to just thank you so much, Miss Robinson, for joining us. We don't have any questions in the chat, but if you want to, could you leave like your email or your professional email so people could reach out to you?
Yes. So we have Plan B. We give out Plan B. We give out condoms. We have pregnancy tests. So that's what we have at Mississippi in Action. If you would like some. And let me go back to this. Let me put this quick plug. Plan B, everybody. If you are over 165 pounds, you need Ella, which is Plan C, and that is only given by prescription. And we have a clinic, it's a mobile clinic in the Delta, actually called Plan C, that does that. They give out, they pay for the Ella, they have telemedicine. So just if you need that information, you can reach me at Valencia at MSINACTION.com. Go, we on Facebook. We have our website, www.msinaction.com. You can call me at 601-862-3382. We will meet you. We will, you can come to us. We will meet you. We meet people all time of the day, all time of the night. Um, but what's been interesting, we've been given more men Plan B than women. It's interesting, huh? Interesting. So yeah, so that's what people want. That's what they need. They can reach us, and we got them. So if y'all know anybody, let me know. Just inbox me. I mean, email me. Let me
And
know.
for those of you who are, oh, I'm so sorry, Miss Valencia.
That's okay, babe.
We're gonna have her information in the chat. So I know she kind of said it out loud, but we'll have it in the chat for you guys to be able to access those resources. Again, thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. In closing, we do want to let you guys know what we have planned next month. Our next Facebook Live will be Monday, October 10th. And the topic is pregnancy and infant loss. October is actually Pregnancy and Infant Loss Awareness Month. So be on the lookout for the flyer for that. And again, thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. We really appreciate it. We will see you all next month. Have a great night.
Bye. Bye bye.
Miss Valencia.